Not looking good. We've been pumping up here for a while, and we've got all of 4.5 gallons in the tank. So if we don't make it to Austin, it's because we couldn't get enough gas on the way here. Kano, there's no pressure in the... We've passed a lot of gas stations that there's no gas, and then we got to this one and there is gas, but it's
Slowly.
We've been here for 10 minutes and we've got 5 gallons in, but it's better than no gallons. It's gas. So hey, we wanted to give you all an update. What was the last number we got?
90, hold on, let me double check to make sure I have it. 991,885.
We've raised $991,885 so far since posting the link yesterday, and we are about to pass 1 million. So if you'd like to donate, Kano, do you have the link that you can pin?
Yep, let me do that right now.
Kano's going to pin the link, but you can also go to poweredbypeople.org, which is poweredxpeople.org. This has been a great drive. We picked up a pallet of water at the Walmart on Yarborough in El Paso at 3:30 Mountain Standard Time and hit the road. And we've been driving, not as fast as we typically would because we've got this big load in the back. And that slowed us down a little bit. And then we stopped for Subway in Fort Stockton, and now we're in Fredericksburg.
Betta, you asked
That
me...
gas pump is talking to me.
You asked me a question and you said, how do I feel being back on the road and driving? How do you
Here,
feel?
let me get you
feel?
in here. Kano, I feel good.
Yeah?
Honestly, my right butt hurts from driving for the last 8 hours, but overall I feel good. I miss Amy. She was halfway thinking about coming, but it was just too hard to swing stuff for the kids and make it work. But we've had more than a year for the first time in like 10 years together in the same house. So that's been awesome.
Yeah, you guys have all...
And the kids, I think are sick of me. And so I think they were all happy to see me leave, but in a sweet way. Like they know I'm going to come back soon. So, but to be honest with you, that's the only downside is leaving and not, I've gotten used to being at home and I've really liked it.
Yeah.
But this drive has been beautiful, and we got to drive through the sunset behind us, kind of casting this beautiful light as we drove east. And of course, the wonderful Subway in Fort Stockton, which happens to be the place I eat every single time.
Yeah.
We make this trip.
That's good.
Yep.
Hey, we have some folks that are donating.
Hey.
So Patsy donated.
Great.
We have Lori Ann. Virginia. Yeah. So folks, thank you so much for making your donations. Really, really appreciate it. And Amanda says, shout out to Kano. Woo, woo. Go, Amanda.
I'd like to report that we now have 9 gallons. 9 gallons.
I've not seen anything go that slow.
Well, this must be, are you all seeing this in other parts of Central Texas?
For more towel content and more trending news, follow us at Elvis Trending and follow me at Andy Maloney.
But we really don't have a choice because I don't know if there's going to be gas down the road.
No, we got to just wait.
We are getting the last of the gas in Fredericksburg. But we're almost in Austin, and we're going to drop off this big pallet of water. I've been talking a lot about that pallet of water. You can see some of the water back here. I'll show you the rest of it. Oh. Here we go. There's our water we're taking into Austin. There's the 10.2 gallons that we have in the tank. And then, Kano, you got to tell us if we pass the mark and who's donating right now.
Becca.
Go, Becca.
Mendoza just donated.
You can always count on Becca.
Yeah. Becca is a person to count on. Anne sends love from Galveston.
From where?
Galveston. Sorry.
You put an R into Galveston.
I know, I sure did.
Galveston.
Yeah, I'm getting a little
Get your-
punchy.
We hope that you're okay in Galveston. Our good friend Joe Jaworski, former mayor of Galveston, now candidate for Attorney General, sent us a list of resources in Galveston, places that you can go for help, places that you can give to if you want to help. And we posted that on Twitter earlier today. And Kano, have you had a chance to put it on Facebook?
Yeah, I sure did.
Did you really?
Oh, yeah, I did.
Okay. I'm in charge of Twitter. Kano's in charge of Facebook. That's kind of the way we divide the responsibilities here.
Regina just donated. Regina,
Go,
thank
Regina.
you. Oh, guess what, Beto?
No.
Guess what? Oh, yeah, right there. I'll tell you that number.
We're at 1,008,700. I'm sorry, $1,008,272.
There you go.
Way to go.
Wow. That
Thank
is
you
like,
all.
Woo,
Yeah.
That's a big deal.
That's so
awesome.
nice. So again, this money goes to help people with water, food, shelter, and then additional services depending on how much we're able to raise. There's a lot of need right now. I don't know, Cynthia, if you and I talked about this yet, but in Houston, there's a really extraordinary reporter there whose feed on Twitter I just got on. She's a Houston Chronicle reporter, and she's been reporting on the number of eviction cases that are being heard this week as, you know, you just went through power outage, freeze, no water, now we're going to kick you out of your house. And I forget how many were heard this week. I think there were like 500 to be heard next week. And that's just awful. And so if we can help with that, one, making sure that people know their rights and understand the process, and two, I think some very, very small percentage of people who face eviction actually have access to an attorney or any, you know, ability to kind of navigate the law around this. So, you know, there might be a way to help there. But when I think about shelter, that's keeping you in your home and you know, trying to stop you from being evicted, or getting you shelter if you are currently experiencing homelessness. It means, you know, making sure that you have a place that you can be where you're safe. And then food, there is not enough food right now in some communities and neighborhoods. We know from our wellness checks that we did this week by phone with thousands of you, as we were making hundreds of thousands of calls across Texas, a lot of seniors have not been able to get food because they haven't been able to leave their house. And so that's super important. And we want to support our food banks and our food pantries. And if you want to just donate directly to them, do that as well. And then I want to make sure that we're helping with water. Water in Austin, in San Antonio, in Houston, and other parts of Texas is really a big issue right now. Folks are having a hard time getting a consistent, clean source of drinkable water. And so we want to help with that as well. I mean, we're bringing a little bit right now in the back of this truck, but we'd love to facilitate more water coming to more people. And I know from talking with County Judge Andy Brown of Travis County, which is where Austin is, they're really getting into a critical phase in terms of drinkable water, drinking water in Austin.
And
So
folks can take water and donate it there.
that's right. You can go to Northeast Early College High School in Austin, Texas, drop that water off in the parking lot. The folks at the county and the city will collect that, and then they'll distribute it out to people who need it. So, but for everyone who donated and got us over $1 million over this last day, thank you so much. And please know that 100% of what we get from you goes right back out, and we're going to try to get it to the most local, critical providers of food, water, and shelter across the state of Texas. You all are amazing, and we are so grateful to you. We feel so lucky to be driving across much of Texas today. This is about a 9-hour drive for us from our hometown of El Paso to our state capital, Austin, where we're going to unload this water. We're going to participate in a canvass tomorrow where we're knocking door to door to check in on people, make sure they're okay. If they're not, try to help them out. And then we're going to go to San Antonio and do the same thing. We'll also have canvasses in Marlin, Texas, led by Julie Oliver. Mike Siegel, I think, is going to be part of that. And then we have a canvas in Houston. And if you want to join any of those, And again, just involves having a mask, 2 masks on actually, keeping 6 feet distance, going door to door in a neighborhood that will give you the location of, and then just checking in on people and making sure they're okay. And if they're not, connecting them with the services and the care and the help that they might need. All right, I have some exciting news. We're up to 17 gallons. We're getting there.
It's moving.
We're getting there. It's moving. So anyhow, that's such a great thing that we were able to raise the $1 million over this, starting yesterday afternoon through today. Thank you all for supporting this work that we're doing, and we promise you we'll make the most of it. And so many ways to help. You can donate. You can donate your time through phone banks. If you go to that Powered by People website, sign up. We'll put you to work. We made hundreds of thousands of phone calls, just under 1 million phone calls this week to senior citizens across the state of Texas. I did it. Cynthia did it. Thousands of you did it. And I hope you agree, deeply fulfilling work and really made a difference in the lives of those that we reached. We're now going to do in-person door-to-door canvassing starting tomorrow in Marlin, San Antonio, Austin, and Houston. That's a way that you can help if you want to. And then there are so many other great groups and agencies and people across the state of Texas who are doing great work. And you just have to look no further than your favorite social media platform and find them and support that if you can as well. If you are having a tough time in Texas, know that we're with you and know that we're doing this right now for you. We're driving across our part of Texas to try to get to you and to help you out. I've been reading what you've sent me on Twitter, on Facebook, on Instagram. We are so grateful that you're reaching out to us and telling us what you need in your community and in your neighborhood. And we're going to do everything we can to get you the help and the assistance. And also to bring together great volunteers who want to help out. And there's so many of you across this state and then really across this country from those of you who participate in those phone banks. So we are almost there. Hope you guys are well. Hope you're having a great Saturday night wherever you are in the world. If you're in Texas, I hope you have your water back on. If you're not sure, check on Google, put your zip code in and put boil water notice, and it'll bring up typically whatever city warning there is. If you do have a boil water notice, be really careful about that. Many parts of Texas, as recently as, yesterday, I think 7 million Texans were under a boil water notice. So be super careful with that. We don't want anybody to get sick as their water comes on. Know how to turn your water off at, the connection to your house. If you have broken pipes, you want to avert damage in your home. We're seeing a lot of that across Texas, unfortunately. Our friend Jenna Royal is trying to organize plumbers. We'll see if we can master that. That might be tough, and we want to defer, obviously, to plumbers in their own communities who know best how to deliver their services. But if there are more broken pipes than there are plumbers to fix them, which may be the case, we know that there are plumbers who want to come in from other parts of the country. And in fact, Cynthia, you talked to our new friend Georgie from Arizona, who said he was willing to take a week off, drive into Texas, and do whatever good he can wherever we could use him. And I thought that was awesome. And I know that there's a lot of folks like Georgie out there who want to help out right now. So
yeah, he said he would sleep in his car. He'd take a tent if he needed to, but he said he just wanted to come out and help, and he could afford spending a week away from work to do that.
That's right. That's right. Good people out there. So in our darkest hours, you really see the best out of good people, and we're seeing that across Texas and across the country right now. We want to thank everybody who's doing that. Just extraordinary generosity that we're seeing, and really, really grateful for it. And we want to thank those outside of Texas. Congressman Ocasio-Cortez, who's raised more than $4 million to donate to improve the lives of people in this state. Even though she doesn't live here, she doesn't represent this state, she saw the need, she knew she had the capacity to raise it, and she did that, and that's awesome. We saw Julian and Joaquin Castro raise a lot of money for Feeding Texas, which is the network of food banks across the state. We want to thank them. We saw local leaders in every major part of this state step up and do the right thing. The county judges, the mayors, the city council, women and men, just really, really encouraging. And then just everyday folks knocking on their neighbor's door, checking in. Hey, are you okay? Anything I can get you? Do you have fresh water? You know, I love that. And we've been getting a lot of stories. Kate just shared a story with us about, it was a woman in Houston that we've got a friend in Atlanta, right, who somehow made contact with her. And when she reached out to her, said, remember, you're under a boil water notice. And the woman said, you know, I've got a disability that doesn't allow me to carry anything. I can't use my hands or my arms. And so they were able to connect her with fresh water so that she didn't have to boil her water. Anyhow, there's a million stories like that, some of which we've learned firsthand by making these wellness check-in phone calls and connecting people with hot meals or warming centers or water or transportation. And then many folks are just sharing with us about their own encounters in their neighborhood or with their neighbors. So you all are amazing, and we're lucky to do this work with you. Oh, wow. We have Phil. I'm going to give you control of the live stream while I go pay out. All right, Fredericksburg. Oops.
Whoa. There's no one here. We're the only ones, but so grateful that we got gas. It's good not to run out of gas. And what Betty was saying, I think, was so true. When I was making the calls, some of the people, they just were so grateful that somebody had reached out.
No, tell us some stories about like who
So
you encountered.
I spoke to one lady that really, really tough, but she had just gone through chemo in January.
Okay.
And senior, and she was all alone, and she said, you know, it has been so hard because I've been without heat for 4 days, and she's just recovering from chemo. Like I said, she's about to start her radiation, and she said, I didn't have any food, and everything that I had spoiled because my electricity went off, and she's just crying, and she just, I think, wanted to talk with somebody, and imagine going through something like that by yourself. So she said that she was able to connect with a friend, and her friend helped put her up for a day or two, and then she said she finally got back home, and she was just so grateful. And she didn't need anything because at that point she had water again. But I just think, I know when something tough is happening to me, just being able to share that with another human being and knowing somebody cares. So she was just incredibly grateful. So
I think that was part of the good that everybody did in making those phone calls, and that we'll do knocking on doors tomorrow, is sometimes even if you can't get somebody water or food or whatever because they don't need it, but if they have been alone and haven't had any contact or connection to provide that, can be a really good thing. I'm going to assume I'm going the right way.
Let me check. Hold on. I think so.
Fredericksburg is so pretty.
It really is. I remember coming here during the Senate campaign.
Oh, I do too.
I absolutely love it.
I remember drinking wine. I wasn't drinking wine. I remember we had a town hall at a winery.
It was outdoors in the backyard.
It was raining. And I remember I got there and it started to rain, and then we kind of huddled under a tree maybe for a little while.
Yeah.
Does that sound familiar?
It totally sounds familiar.
And then we were like, let's pick up a couple bottles of wine and some cheese, and it was I remember it was high value.
You're saying that it sounds muffled.
I think it's this. I don't know why you connected with my phone somehow with.
Should I plug this in?
I don't know. I think we got to turn that on.
This works.
It says we're in a phone call.
I'm going to plug it in and see if that helps. A lot of folks are saying we're fuzzy. Let's see if that works.
Are we still fuzzy?
Amy O'Rourke?
Is Amy on?
I think so, because she's the one that told me that we sounded far away.
Will you ask Amy if we still sound far away?
Amy, can you let me know? Let me see. Hey,
That sounds like a lyric to a song.
Let's see. Bluetooth might be on. Yep, that did it. Okay.
That did it?
Kate, Amy, everybody on the live stream, if you guys let me know if it sounds better, that would be great.
but maybe they can't hear you.
That's true. Let's see. You are good. Thank you, Lori Burnett.
No way.
Yeah.
All right.
That
I
was
love
from
Lori.
Lori.
Yeah, great people. So, Connell, just to ask again, am I going the right way?
Oh, I forgot. I was supposed to check on that. Yes, you are, Beto.
Great.
You're going the right way.
Great. Well, Amy, I don't know if you heard the news, but we've raised over $1 million since we started the effort to raise for Texas yesterday on shelter, food, and water, and we're super thankful to everybody who's contributed. We've got this pallet of water that Amy helped us load into the truck that we are now taking to Austin at the invitation of the county judge, Andy Brown, who tells us that Austin is running low on water. There's a marmot or something running across the street. That didn't look like a cat.
No, it didn't.
It was loping.
Loping?
Yeah, it was loping.
I don't know that word, Beto.
Well, you can walk, you can run, you can trot, you can canter, you can gallop, and you can lope.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, that's new. Thank you for it, expanding my vocabulary. I honestly did not know that word.
You can waddle.
I heard waddle. I've heard, but lope is new.
Yeah.
And that's only something that animals do.
I think there are some humans, I won't name them, who lope.
Huh. Interesting. So our friend Wesley is on, Ellen is on, Catherine is on. There's so many great people.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Hey, have we heard from Dark Side of the Moon?
Eric Garber.
Yeah.
Yep. Yes, he has kept in touch. I don't know if he is on.
Well, that's okay.
The
I just want to make
thread.
sure he's all right.
He is. He's kept in touch with me. So
That's great.
it's good to talk with him. He and they just posted. It was his wife's birthday, and he posted about her. So yeah. Oh, Heidi says Fredericksburg has great fauna.
Great fauna?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is? Only fauna can lope. There's flora
Yeah.
and there's fauna.
What's fauna?
The animals. I
Oh,
think.
Wesley says cruise lopes.
I don't think you need to actually say that stuff out loud.
Sorry, I had to, but that one was kind of funny. I'm sorry.
I wonder, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the connection between the word lope and elope is.
Huh. Something
Makes
to
you
think about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, there we go. Craddle. Sandy says there's crawl and waddle. Craddle.
That sounds like something that you would see in Australia. Like they have animals, like a platypus or a craddle.
That sounds like it could be a word. Yeah, it does. Isn't lost Georgetown this evening? I'm trying to go through some of the messages. Let me see if Kate has any update for us.
So three things. One, if you can bring water to Austin, Judge Andy Brown asked that the Northeast Early College High School campus serve as a drop-off site. You can drop it off at any point, 24/7. We're going to drop ours off at 1 a.m. or later, given how long it took us to gas up in Fredericksburg. Number two, you can donate. I think there's a pinned link here, but you can donate to Powered by People.
Yep.
We're getting that money back out for water, shelter, and food in Texas. Thanks to everybody who's donated, and thank you for those who are about to donate. We salute you. And then the third thing is, we are knocking on doors, doing a wellness check on people in Austin, in Marlin, Texas, in Houston, and in San Antonio. And if you are able to, and a lot of people are not going to be able to for very understandable reasons in those four communities, but if you are able to, or you live relatively nearby and you can drive into one of those communities, you can join us. And you only need to go to Powered by People. It's poweredxpeople.org. And you can go to the events tab, and then you can sign up RSVP, and we'll train you. We'll give you an area to walk in, and we'll guide you in what it is you need to ask folks and how it is that we're going to be able to help.
All right, but I have two things for you. number one, Lisa Davis is on, and she says,
Lisa.
there is no connection between lope and elope. She's just schooling us on that.
Wow. What's the derivative, like, what's the etymology of lope?
So somebody is,
Latin,
we have really smart folks.
Indo-European, Proto-Indo-European.
Yeah.
Is it the mother language of all languages that produce lope? Where do we get that?
I'm sure somebody will
Lisa
tell us.
Davis was my CCD was actually my confirmation teacher.
Oh, that's
my confirmation teacher.
Very cool. And I have a second thing for you. So Rafael Colasso, and I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
That's all right.
Is on, and he went to Columbia with you.
Really?
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, Rafael is on. Said he went to Columbia with you.
That's great. Rafael, good to see you. Or good to know that you're out there. That's great.
Yeah.
What's the sense you get as you read the comments in terms of what people are doing tonight? How are people spending their Saturday night?
Let's see. Folks, please let me know. Oh, we have some smart people that are commenting on your question. And so here we go. Loping.
There you go. Look at this.
Equals long strides. Eloping equals running away secretly in order to get married, especially without parental consent. Maybe the running away part is the connection.
They're connecting.
Yeah, that is what Tamara is saying. And then lope comes from leap, according to Shelley.
Wow.
Yeah.
Like I leap, but yesterday I loped.
Maybe. I don't know.
Amy and I almost eloped.
Really?
Yeah.
Tell us about that story.
Well, it was really a very quick courtship.
What do you mean by quick?
Well, we went on a date at the end of 2004, and we were married by September of 2005, and we were engaged within a couple months of our first date, or maybe 3 months, 4 months of our first date, really quick. And we were like, why slow things down with the wedding? Why?
Let's just do it.
Let's just do it.
So can I ask you, because this is, I think, a question that, when somebody gets married right away, you're like, how did you know that Amy was the one? Like, what about her made you realize so quickly that she was the one?
That's a really good question. It's why you rely on poets to describe these feelings, because it's truly hard to put into words, but there's a sense that you get, and you just know, like, something resonates and connects and vibes and is just true and real, and you can't escape it.
Well, you two are so sweet together. Like, you really like each other, you really respect each other, and I mean, it's really...
is that interrupting the stream?
Oh, it might be. I tried to say no. Or wait.
I know, can people still hear us?
Betcha's getting a call, and I wonder if that is interrupting the sound. Can you guys still hear? I've not had any reports yet.
Okay.
Yes, they can still hear. Thank you, Kate.
Okay. So, Amy and I have been married now for 15 and a half years. And most of that time, we have lived kind of apart. Like, I was in Congress for 6 years, and every week I flew to DC, and then would fly back on the weekend, and then would fly out again. And so we were together, but we were just as often apart. And then when I ran for Senate, we would spend stretches together, but for much of that I was traveling, in a Dodge Grand Caravan with you and Chris and other folks that joined the campaign. Then in 2019, when we sought the nomination. So anyhow, 2020, because of the pandemic, and because we couldn't leave, we were forced to be together almost. Not that we didn't want to be, but I just think our lives and what we do in our lives, we're just doing things that don't allow us always to be in the same place. And so there was a real question, I think, in our minds as to how we would do living in the same house together and working in the same house together and not having any separation. And it turned out to be a really good thing. And it could go one of two ways. You could just, be sick of each other after a little while, or you could realize that, hey, this thing really works. And for us, it was the latter. It's just, we just connected. Not that, we don't get on each other's nerves from time to time or, argue about stuff. Everybody does that, but I think we like each other. And it's been good to be a family and just to have dinners together and, do stuff together, go on hikes together. Is that more than you wanted to know?
No, that's really nice, Beto. I think, No, and do you remember our friend Linda Guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, so she says, it's been a very long week, holed up in the house with no electricity.
Oh.
Greg and I have not heard each other yet, so great to see you guys on the road.
They're such wonderful people.
Yeah.
I mentioned, Chris and Cynthia in the Dodge Grand Caravan and other people we traveled with. Linda and Greg, great example of amazing people that we got to meet, travel with, and get to know in 17 and 18. I do miss that about traveling Texas for sure. Just, we couldn't name or number the people that we met and got to know across Texas over those 2 years.
Yeah.
Some of whom we're still in touch with, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And all of whom I hope to see again at some point.
Great people. Really great. So one thing that I don't know if some folks know, but I have actually worked for both of the O'Rourkes. So before I worked for Beto, I worked for Amy. And so I worked for Amy for 5 years, and then I've worked for Beto for 8 years.
That was my Michael Barbaro. Do you ever listen to him?
Nope.
The daily podcast from New York Times.
Was that?
So somebody says something and goes, I worked for Amy.
Well, it shows me that you're listening.
Yeah.
So there's some recognition
it's
there.
It's like a super loud way of acknowledging the person's point.
Yeah.
And I think it's funny that he does that, and I've started to do that.
You've picked it up a little bit?
Yeah, not meaning to.
Well, it's all right, but it's not a bad thing. All right, so we are, let me see how far out. Hour and 20 minutes.
Hour and 20 minutes?
Yeah.
Oh my God. We should have started earlier in the day.
I know. Well, you know what? I packed like in 15 minutes. I've never done that in my life. So I hope I have pants and socks and all the essentials. Because you said let's leave now. And I literally have never packed so quickly in my life. So.
Well, we're in good hands. We want to thank our friend Carrie, who set us up with a place to stay. I want to thank Andy Brown, who sent the call out saying we need water. Kate and Wysong, who helped to organize around this. Everyone who's donated so that we have the resources to get water to people. For example, Commissioner Rodriguez, who we're going to see tomorrow in San Antonio. Julie Oliver and Mike Siegel, who are both going to help lead these canvases door to door as well. A lot of good people.
Yep. A lot of good people. So should we sign off now, Beto?
Yeah, maybe we can sign back. So it's midnight. It's midnight in Fredericksburg, in Austin, in Central Time Zone. It is now Sunday.
Happy Sunday, Beto.
Happy Sunday. So yeah, why don't we sign back on if you want to when we're in Austin and dropping off the water.
Cool. We'll do that.
Thank you all for helping us to raise so much to help the people of Texas. Thank you for accompanying us on our drive now that we're in our last, how many miles do you think? Last 100 miles?
Yeah, a little bit over 100, maybe.
Our last 100 miles, and just being so good to us. It's good. It kind of is rejuvenating to know you all are out there. And And I love knowing that Amy's watching right now. So Amy, I will give you a call as soon as we sign off on the live stream and wish you good night, because it's 11 o'clock where you are, but the kids are asleep. And do not watch the next episode of The Americans. Have you watched that?
I haven't. The Americans?
The Americans, so good. And we watched up to season 3 a few years ago, and then we just stopped for some reason. And then we rediscovered it recently. We've been watching it. Anyhow.
We're watching 4400.
You were watching 4400?
Yeah.
What's that?
On Netflix. It's a pretty good show too. It's about 4,400 people disappear throughout time, and all of a sudden they are back on Earth. They're like dumped. I guess a beam of light or whatever puts them back on Earth, and it goes through their stories and what they remember. And so, anyways, it's a pretty good show.
It's good. Amy, the reason we're still only in season 3 partly is we get about 20 minutes into an episode and Amy passes out. And then we have to make a decision when we start the next episode. Amy, do you want to go watch everything you missed, or do you want me to recap it for you? So,
do you recap?
I'm a pretty good recapper. I'm like, well, you didn't really miss anything.
You just give her the highlights.
Yeah, and this person died, or
Oh, so Amy says, "Good night, everyone. Our little one Henry stole Beto's side of the bed, asleep next to me."
Oh.
So Henry took...
I had the sweetest one. I woke up a little bit late this morning. So Amy got up early to take Ulysses to a track meet. Which, by the way, can I just say one thing to brag?
Do it, Beto.
Ulysses ran the 800 meter at the track meet at Bowie today, and he won.
Really?
And our friend Lynn, you're not supposed to, I don't want to out Lynn, I won't give her last name, but because of COVID, there are no spectators.
Okay.
At the track meet, right?
Yeah.
Parents drop your kids off and then go home. And Lynn snuck behind a wall and like put her cell phone over the top, and
that's such a parent thing to do. I love it.
Videoed her kid and then videoed Ulysses running the 800. And so Ulysses starts, there's 3 other runners, I think, 3 or 4 other runners, and the kid in the lead just goes way out there, and they do the first 400, and Ulysses is still pretty far back, and I'm thinking, you know what, there's just no way he's going to catch that kid, and we just, whatever, there's some fast kids out there, and you're just not going to catch them. And then sure enough, Ulysses just kept the steam going, and the kid who'd shot out real far ahead started to slow down a little bit. And by the end of that 800, Ulysses.
Go Ulysses! Wow.
And we were all watching the video in the kitchen, Molly, Amy, and me, and we were like, cheering and yelling and clapping, and it was so great. Anyhow, Amy got up early to take Ulysses to the track meet. She got up at like 6, and I stayed asleep, except the cat got on my head and was like doing his, giving me some love. Then she took the cat out. Anyhow, I go back to sleep. I get up at 8:30 and I go into Henry's room, and he's reading in his bed. And then Molly comes in, and then just the 3 of us just kind of like hung out for a little while.
Chilling.
Yeah, and then Artemis, the dog, came up, and Molly was trying to get him on the bed, which he's not going to like to do. And Artemis, like, half was on the bed with the 3 of us. Anyhow, it's like the best morning.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
So anyhow, Amy, I'm glad that you are next to Henry right now. I love you, and I'll call to check in with you real soon. But I want you to know that we're safe, and we're almost in Austin, and I think we're going to maybe see our friends Chrissy and Jay. Jay just ran 30 miles, Chrissy was telling me. And so...
that's nuts. 30 miles in one...
And that's a training run, because he runs like 50-mile races and beyond.
Nuts.
All right. Long goodbye.
All right, Beto.
All right, good night, Cynthia.
Bye, Beto. Bye. Bye. Wait, hold